Hello and welcome to another Puzzling Time video. A few weeks ago I made a video on birds, showing you some different birds and some birds in my collection. So I thought I'd do the same thing today, but this time with some N-ary puzzles. For those people who don't know, N-ary puzzles tend to be puzzles where we have to make a sequential movement. So a series of moves, sometimes repeated over and over, and the idea is to either free a trinket like a ball bearing, or you can be taking a piece out or a key. So I'm going to show you a few different ones and you can see the different kind of goals of these N-ary puzzles. Now, one that you'll easily be able to get hold of is this. It's from the N series. It's by Claude Constantine, and it's a great introductory kind of N-ary. You can see everything you need to do. We've got to get this ball bearing from here all the way over here, and it does that through dropping down through a channel, which you can see when you get the back there. So we need to basically get, these sliders, use these sliders to get this ball bearing across. Now, N-ary puzzles are not about working out the actual moves. They're more about kind of following the pattern, understanding what you've got to do, and kind of keeping your concentration a little bit as well. So this, for example, there's only one move you can make. It's hardly a spoiler. Moving that slider there to the left is the only thing you can do. And unless you're going to push it straight back, after the slider's moved to the left, you have to go down. And you kind of follow the only route you've got, and then this allows the next slider to move. But to get this next slider to move even further, you have to retrace all those initial steps. And this keeps going. Once this piece at the top, I will have to redo everything many times to get this at the bottom moving. And then I'll be able to move the second slider and the third slider. So everything kind of grows very, very quickly with N-ary puzzles. And you really do have to kind of concentrate on what you're doing. Very easy to kind of get turned around. This is great. It's got a nice little quick reset. So once you've got the ball bearing out, you can kind of reset the puzzle very quickly. There are different versions of this as well, which have many more these sliders, and they go to many thousands of moves. But this is a nice short one, just a couple hundred moves maybe. And I would recommend this. I'd also recommend Waiter's Tray by Claude Constantine. It's really big, it's nice, the goal is quite obvious, but there's kind of a bit more kind of to it. You have to think a little bit about that one, so I really would recommend Waiter's Tray as well. Sticking with Claude Constantine, and one unfortunately you can't really get hold of anymore, is this. It's called Wave. It's a beautiful size and it's a wonderful design. We've got these 3 ball bearings, and the idea is to get them out of these 3 holes. Now, we do this by moving the ball bearings down these wave patterns, which are just slightly offset. And there's only one piece to move in this puzzle, which is this slider here. And I'll just show you a few moves. So we move it all the way to the right, and we can see that this ball bearing has passed that first movement. Move it down again, and now the second one has. To get this to go further, I have to move that first ball bearing up, and the second ball bearing has gone past. Now I want to move this third one, so let's get those 2 ball bearings down, and if I want to get this past, everything's got to go back up, which means the ball bearing on the left goes all the way up, then the ball bearing on the right has to go all the way up. And now we can get this one down. And this puzzle is, the movement of it is really nice. It's got these 5 waves. It's actually called a quaternary puzzle, because it's the growth on it is like 5 stages. But I really just like the design of it. I like how it moves. It doesn't stick. You can actually get quite quick with this. I'm not being particularly quick now because I'm obviously holding it in front of the camera, but it's a nice movement. It doesn't jam up. It's really simple. Yeah, I'm really kind of impressed with this. Unfortunately, can't get hold of it anymore, which is a shame. But if you do see one in second hand, they shouldn't be too expensive, and they're really worth getting if you're getting into N-ary puzzles. I think the first N-ary puzzle I got, talking about me getting into them, is possibly, apart from Waiter's Tray maybe, is this, which is Turnkey by Go Pick Cayenne, one of my favourite designers. This one is built by Cubic Dissection, so Eric Fuller and his team, and it's turnkey, so it's a ternary movement. We've got kind of 3 sliders, 3 stages, and the idea is to remove this plastic key. I have actually made a video on this in the past. We move the key to one side, then we have to move these pegs up or down. Again, none of this is spoilery, because you know, it's the idea of these puzzles is not to necessarily work out the first move or two. It's to keep the pattern and follow the pattern. And I certainly won't be going deep enough to get confused or get too far into them. There are some puzzles actually I could tell you there anyway, and it would ruin them for you, which is purposefully why I have not chosen some puzzles. As you'll see, these first 3 here are all very flat puzzles, kind of 2D-ish. So we'll look at some now that aren't so 2D. We have this beautiful canary and walnut wood numlock. Numlock is another Go Pick Cayenne design. This was built by Tom Lench, and the idea is to take out this end peg, and you do that by sliding the pegs up and these sliders across. And again, it's all about these kind of repeated patterns, and once we've got so far, we have to then move everything else back down. I'm not going to go into it, but this moves so smoothly, so quickly as well. It's only this is 134 moves to solve, which is a short N-ary. This is again a very short N-ary. You can solve this very quickly in a lovely, timely manner. It's a great kind of fidget toy. And you can kind of take this all apart. You take all these pegs out, all these sliders come out. You can really disassemble this. But I really kind of appreciate that puzzle. I really do like the design. I know Alphonse Ecumans makes versions of this, which this is, see, it's got the kind of 3 sliders and the 4 pegs. He does them with 5 pegs, 6, even 7. I solved one which had 9. Is it 9 or 10 pegs? 9 pegs, I think it was, made by Tom Nichols, which nearly broke me. I was that long on it. The one that was the kind of the numlock version that Steve passed to me to try and break my will was 3D printed, and someone who makes amazing 3D printed puzzles is a guy called Alexander Leventev, and Alexander Leventev, he made 205 minute cube, which we'll see in a minute. He also made one which is one of my favourites. It was called Verticale, which is like 16,000 moves, which is a ridiculous number of moves. And he's just moved away a little bit from printing to this now, which is this is moulded. So this is a moulded N-ary puzzle. This is 13,200 moves. This is a ridiculous number of moves. Very heavy. Okay, very interesting how it's been put together. And the idea is to kind of use rotation and to use this vertical movement as well. Once you've actually got a piece out, it becomes quite simple actually to kind of manipulate it. The first couple of moves can be a little bit awkward, but it's really nicely done. This puzzle actually gets quite complicated. The pattern changes a fair amount, and it's really easy to get kind of turned around in this puzzle and start going backwards. You know you've solved it because you'll be able to get pieces out of the bottom. They will come out because the kind of the pegs that go through the maze will come out here. Wonderful puzzle, many hours to solve something like that, but it's just the kind of enjoyment of being able to do it and just kind of appreciate the build. But very heavy. You can still get hold of this, and you can get hold of the 205 moulded version he's making now rather than printed. But if you're super lucky, you may be able to get to play with one of these, which is a wooden version. Again, this is Eric Fuller and Cubic Dissection, and this is kind of 12,000 move beast. Basically, if I was to make one move every second, then it would take me 205 minutes. So 3.5 hours to solve this. It's going to take me 3.5 hours to find the first move. There we go. So it's got a really nice feel to it, really smooth. Got some really nice woods being used. When you play with it, you've got a nice click. And the idea is to remove a piece from this. So once we've removed a piece, we can actually swap it with another piece, or there is a quick reset now on the printed version, and I'm guessing on the molded version there isn't a quick reset. I guess there is a quick reset on this because we have screws, we can take it apart. But ultimately it's it's not about a quick reset, it's about getting it back to the beginning. And there we see we've got the first kind of piece that comes out the whole way there, and then it's just a case of following a pattern and if going through the steps to make sure we can build all the way around this kind of maze. And you can be pretty kind of rough, I suppose, with this puzzle. Not that I'd want to be, but it's very robust, it's very well made, but it's just so complicated inside. You can see these metal bars, you can see the pieces. It just wasn't an easy build for Eric. I know there was some delay with it, there was some real tough movements and strain put on the piece, and some of it ultimately kind of didn't really make it to market. You had to kind of have some of these fixed and go back, which is a shame because the ones that are on the market are absolutely brilliant and perfect because that's the way Eric would have it. But this was just an awful puzzle to build, apparently. I mean, it's beautiful and really well made, and it's probably only Eric who would take it on, but actually as a piece of engineering, it was a very tough one to build in wood, which is why these N-ary puzzles do tend to come in plastic when they get to these many moves like this. But, well, yeah, really, hopefully you've seen some nice versions of N-aries, and hopefully there's something there that kind of interests you. If you want to know anything more about any of these pieces, then feel free to comment below. Every comment, like, share is really appreciated. It really helps me out. And I'll get back to you very soon. Bye for now.